Am I the asshole for taking off my apron and announcing to 50 guests, including my sister's bosses, that I wasn't a family maid right in the middle of her birthday party?
Welcome to PopcornRest story. Today's story is about a woman who will afford to serve her own family while being dismissed as not having a real job, until one moment at a party change everything and turn humiliations into consequences. No one's more coming. So let's get started.
I was standing at the kitchen sink with both hands in soapy water when my mom walked in with 3 of her friends and my sister's managing partner and said, loudly enough for all of them to hear, "Don't mind Cora. She does her little freelance projects, but nothing real. So she's happy to help out." She laughed. Her friends laughed. The managing partner smiled politely. I stood there with my hands in the water and thought, okay, something is going to happen tonight. Some background. I'm a freelance graphic designer. I've been doing it for 5 years. I specialize in brand identity, logos, visual systems, the full package that companies use to present themselves to the world. It's real work. It requires real skill. It pays real money, though not as much as it's about to that. My sister Madison is a lawyer at a firm that does corporate litigation. She's 31 and she's been on track for a partnership promotion for the past year. In my family's hierarchy, Madison is the success, and I am the cautionary tale. My mom has been telling people I draw things on the computer for 5 years. She says it the way you describe a hobby, because I work from home. I am assumed to be available. Every holiday, every family event, every gathering where someone needs to cook or clean or set up or serve, that's me. I've been doing it since I started. Freelancing because I thought it was a way to contribute, and because saying no always led to a fight about how I had nothing better to do. Anyway, Madison's birthday party was this past weekend. 50 guests, her firm colleagues, her boss, the managing partner, people from her personal life. A catered level event that was not catered because my mom had volunteered. Me thought without asking that I had been in crunch mode for 3 weeks. I have a client, a corporation called Meridian, and I've been developing a brand identity system for them. That is the biggest project of my career. I had a presentation coming up that I had been building toward for months. The timing of Madison's party landed directly in the middle of my final push. I stayed up until 2 a.m. for 3 nights in a row. I went to the market twice. I cooked everything from scratch because my mom had made promises to Madison about what the food would be. I showed up the day of the party early, set everything up, and spent the party moving between the kitchen and the dining room while Madison stood in the living room in a new dress accepting compliments by 8 p.m. I had been on my feet for 11 hours. I asked my mom if she could handle refilling one of the platters. Just one. I would do everything else, she said, in front of people, that I didn't have anywhere to be and that this was the least I could do given that I didn't have a real job. That's when I noticed a man standing near the doorway who had been watching this exchange. He introduced himself as Christopher Hayes. I didn't recognize the name immediately, which I will think about later because I should have. He said he'd gone to school with my dad. He said he'd been watching me work all evening and he wanted to know what I did. I told him I was a freelance designer. I said I specialized in brand identity. He said, "Who are your current clients?" I told him I was in the middle of a project for a company called Meridian. He looked at me for a moment. He said, "I'm the CEO of Meridian. I don't fully remember the next 30 seconds. What I remember is him saying that the preliminary concepts his team had shared with him were exceptional and that he had been looking forward to the presentation. He said he hadn't realized the designer behind the work was here tonight. He said, "You're far too talented to be apologizing for existing in this room." I looked down at the apron I was wearing. I thought about 11 hours on my feet. About to aim for 3 nights. About my mom's voice saying nothing real in front of the managing partner. I'm the asshole for what I did next. I'm asking because Madison's bosses were in that room. Her promotion review is coming up. What I was considering doing would happen in front of people who have professional power over her life. But I also just got told by the CEO of my biggest client that I was too talented to be apologizing for existing. While wearing an apron at my sister's birthday party after 3 days of no sleep, I need someone to tell me if taking it off is the wrong call to long. Didn't read freelance graphic designer. Family thinks I draw things on a computer for fun. Made me cook, shop, and serve my sister's 50-person birthday party during the crunch period of my biggest project. Mom publicly humiliated me in front of guests, including my sister's managing partner. The CEO of my biggest client happened to be at the party and witnessed all of it. Told me I was too talented to be apologizing for existing. I'm holding an apron. Am I the asshole if I put it down and say something? Edit, I put it down. Update coming, edit to, the contract arrived tonight. All right, everything out tomorrow.
This feels like one of those moments where years of pipe resentment finally collides with a single public wreck in a mask. On the surface, it's just a family birthday party, but underneath it, there's a really clear pattern. You've been mislabeled, undervalued, and gladly assigned the role of help instead of bosser. And the worst part is that everyone around you has acting like that person of you is normal. What's made this situation so explosive in the audience? It's not just family dynamics anymore. It's your sister, professional world, watching how your family treats you, and by extensions, how they think success is defined. So now the interesting question is, after the effort comes on, does your mom double down and try to selfie, or does the sister value freak from the OPC? The narcissistic value freak from the narcissist benefiters Brown. And what about the CEO? Does they a random insecure, or does it turn into something that changes your entire career trajectory? Either way, it doesn't feel like the 9 ends gladly.
Update 1, 2 days La Terry put the apron on the counter. Not a dramatic gesture. I just took it off, folded it once, and set it next to the fruit bowl. Then I turned around to face the room. There were 50 people there. Some of them were looking at me already. Some of them turned when they realized something was shifting. I said I wanted to clarify something before the evening continued. I said I was not the help. I said I was a member of this family who had been told, without being asked, that I would be responsible for the food and service at this event. I said I had spent 3 days preparing it while also working a deadline on a major professional project, and that I had just been told in front of several people that I didn't have a real job and was therefore available to serve. I said, I'm a freelance brand designer. I have clients. I have deadlines. I have a career. It looks different from Madison's, but it is not less real. I looked at my mom. I looked at my sister. I said, I'm done for tonight. Then I walked out. I drove home. I showered. I sat on my couch and stared at the wall for a while. At 10:47 p.m. my phone rang. There was a number I didn't recognize. It was Mr. Hayes' assistant. She said Mr. Hayes had wanted to make sure the contract reached me that evening since the presentation timeline was moving up. She said she had attempted to reach me but had left the documentation with my family since they were able to receive it. The contract was a formal offer. Brand director role at Meridian. Starting salary of $180,000 per year, plus a project engagement fee of $240,000 for the current brand identity work. There was also a letter from Mr. Hayes personally. It was brief and professional, and it contained one sentence that I have read several times since. I hope the people in your life understand what they have in you. If not, we look forward to making that clear in other ways. My family had received all of this. I heard from my dad the following morning. He said the room had gone very quiet after I left. He said Madison's managing partner had asked a few questions about my work, pulled up some of my portfolio on his phone, and shown it to a colleague. He said the conversation at the table had shifted significantly. He said my mom was not doing well. He said Madison was also not doing well, for a separate reason that he would explain later. The separate reason was this. Madison's promotion review was the following week. Her managing partner, the same one who had been in the room, who had watched my mom describe my work as nothing real, who had watched me walk out, had a conversation with Madison. Ahead of the review, the promotion to partner was being delayed 6 months. The reason given was that some concerns had been raised about her professional judgment, her interpersonal conduct, and her awareness of how she and those around her treated people in service or supporting roles. The managing partner had been specific. What he had observed at the party had informed his assessment. Madison called me. The conversation was short. She said she didn't blame me. I think she meant it.
Honestly, it's getting way bigger than just a family drama as a wedding party now. It feels like every single thing that night triggers a chain reaction nobody in the room expected. In this room expected. Their way, see, I'll casually step in and Geraldine changes how everyone sees Coral, Lissal Rivlin job is already wild enough. But then the contract dropped and everything slipped even harder. And what's even more intense is how the consequences aren't just emotional anymore. They're real world. Career level consequences, his immediate to, that's delayed in her motion. That didn't come out of nowhere. It went from one night where everyone's behavior was suddenly put under a microscope. You really have to wonder, at this stage, is the drama finally over, or is a massive wave of consequences about to hit a family that's have absolutely no idea what's coming?
Update 2. For now several months have passed. I've been at Meridian full-time since the start of my contract. Brand Director is the title on my door and on my business cards and in my email signature. The work is hard and interesting, and I am being paid what the work is worth, which turns out to be significantly more than I had been charging as a freelancer at Mer. Hayes is a precise and demanding person to work for, and I find that I respond well to both of those qualities. He asks good questions. He pushes back on things that aren't ready. He says thank you when something lands. I didn't speak to my mom for about 3 months, not out of ongoing anger. Exactly. I just needed the space to build a new thing without managing her reaction to it at the same time. She called several times. I let the calls go. I was not ready that my dad called consistently. Short calls, not pushing anything. He told me things were difficult at home and that he was trying to figure out what to do about it. He said he had suggested family therapy and that everyone had agreed to try it my mom's social circle had contracted. Several of the women who had been at the party, people she had known for years, had quietly created distance. What she had said that night had been witnessed by too many people for the version she preferred to hold out the family center. Letter about 2 months in, handwritten. My dad's handwriting on the envelope, but multiple signatures inside. My mom's was there. Madison's was there. My dad's was there that it wasn't a perfect letter. There was some explanation in it that probably shouldn't have been. But there was also acknowledgement. Specific, named acknowledgement of specific things that I hadn't expected to receive. I read it twice and put it in a drawer. I called my dad the next day. We met for dinner. My parents, Madison, me. I said what I needed to say before anyone else spoke. I said I was glad they had done the work of the past few months. I said I was open to rebuilding something, but that it would look different. I would not be cooking at family events. I would not be the default person when something needed to be done. My work would be treated as what it was, a career, not a hobby, not a placeholder, not evidence that I had nothing better to do. That my mom nodded. She looked smaller than I remembered that my dad said. That's fair. Madison said she had thought a lot about what the managing partner had said to her. She said the 6-month delay had been, as strange as it was to admit, useful. That she had done some work in that time that she hadn't been willing to do before. She made partner last month. She called me when she found out. I sat at the family dinner table at Easter and did not stand up once that my mom served the food. Maya helped clear the plates. I sat in my chair and ate and talked and stayed until dessert. It was the first family meal I can remember where I was a guest. At my own family's tables and not the asshole, obviously. But the thing I keep returning to isn't the apron or the announcement or any of it. It's the 3 days before the party. The 2 a.m. sessions. The market runs. The platters I refilled alone. The apron was the smallest thing I put down that night. The rest took longer. But I put it all down eventually after long. Didn't read. Walked out of the party after announcing I wasn't the family maid. Mr. Hayes' assistant called that night. Formal contract offer. Brand director at Meridian. $1.18 okay salary plus $240,000 project fee. Delivered to my family since I wasn't home. Letter from Mr. Hayes noting he hoped the people in my life understood what they had in me. Managing partner delayed Madison's promotion 6 months over what he'd observed. Mom's social circle contracted. 3 months of no contact. Family went to therapy. Sent a handwritten letter. Met for dinner with clear terms. No more default labor. My work treated as a real career. Madison made partner last month. Called me when she found out. Easter dinner. I sat the whole time. First family meal where I was a guest at my own family's table.
So this whole story, he's different because it doesn't really stay as whole trauma for long. It's turned into something about identity, respect, and how easily a family can normalize someone's value until an outsider forces them to see it clearly. What's really hit home is realizing just how Cora was carrying on her shoulders long before the party even started. The whole Afrin incident was huge, but the actress tradies were those last years of being the Zanada's workhorse, torn her labor, done's count, and being expected to just stick it. That's kind of toxic spirit. It doesn't just vanish with a quick comment. It simmers under the surface until a single moment finally flows the lid off the whole thing in front of exactly the people who needed to see it. And then the twist isn't just the CEO or the contract, is the estimate inside the family, because the real consequence wasn't punishment, was visibility. Wants other people with authority and status, or how she will be treated. Family narrative couldn't stay the same anymore. Medicines delayed the remission. The social distance from the mother, even the therapy, all feels like a credibility finally entering a system that's had been unbullied for years. What I love most in how the story wraps up, it completely skips the traumatic revenge dramas and the dramatic going no contact routine. Instead, it's all about wires, botchelate batteries. She's still there and still eats with the family, but she officially stepped down from being deposed force to keep everything from falling apart. In the end, it's not about the effort at all. It's about finally setting down in the roles he never agreed to carry in the first place. So let me know what you guys think about this one, because I can't think one be hear that. And if you like this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to Pocket Around This Story. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!